discerning members of the American press, that fourth branch of government, that check on tyranny, the voice of the people, really. So it's your opportunity.
In theory.
It's your opportunity here and now to ask all the questions that didn't get asked in the debate. Find out what you really, truly, deeply want to know about the presidential candidates. Whether it be what they look like in a wife or husband, or their policies.
That's always an interesting question.
All sorts of things. Favorite hair color? I hear that's one that usually comes up quite repeatedly. And typically has to be
beard or no beard?
Yeah, that's always interesting. That's another good question that you could ask.
Alright. What's that?
He's just yelling at me.
That answer is yes. But
Glenn's just bitter that he has baby face. Anyways.
I'm not even responding to that.
We want to go over some formalities, okay? Even if you don't, we're going to. So, here's how this is going to work. What is going to happen is we're going to have our candidates come on stage. Now, you guys are all very obnoxious because, well, you're the press. And so...
Press is obnoxious loud.
Yes, loud and obnoxious. So what happens is, the candidates are each going to come out, they're going to have a short amount of time to give an opening statement, where they're going to pretty much say all sorts of nice, prepared things that they're generally ready for, it's going to sound really open and stuff like that. And then, member of the press, the Times reporter, is going to have an opportunity to ask a question or two, and then it's your turn.
Just so you
Give
know,
it to them.
each side will have a total of 15 minutes. And that's going to be, the press will be keeping track of that amount of time.
That's between opening statements and questions.
That's correct. Also, one note, just so that way all of you remember, because you're the press and you want to be respectful while being obnoxious, reminder of the correct title for each person.
Oh, yes.
Because there's nothing more insulting than calling a senator a representative, or calling a representative a senator, calling a member of the cabinet a senator, calling the president a senator. You don't want to do that.
Does everyone know what the titles are? We have the president, 2 senators, and 1 secretary.
So as a
Do
reminder,
not call him Madam Secretary. That is not okay.
yeah, the only person that should be called Madam, well, there's 2, both senators. You can call them Holly Scantley and Laura Little. Both of them are Madam Senator. Then Gabe is Mr. President, and Joshua is Mr. Secretary. You all got that?
Awesome. Clear as mud?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little bit of a practice session for you. The President Pro Tem of the Senate, Senator Birch, has agreed to take a question or two. So here's how this is going to go down. You all are going to jump up on your feet and yell very loudly, Mr. Senator, Mr. Senator, Mr. Senator, Mr. Senator, Mr. Senator.
He's not done with instructions yet.
I was not finished. All right, thank you very much. When I give the word,
What's the
you may
word?
jump up on your
What's the
feet.
word? What's the word? The bird.
No, the word is not the word. Anyways, so you will then jump up, yell at him, and when he points out someone, everyone go, well, then I should say that, but just be quiet. And then he will take the question from the person he recognizes. And then he will, in true political form, give a non-answer that sounds nice and fluffy and stuff like that. He just corrects the question and everything. And anyways, yeah, so I guess we should go for it then?
Let's go.
All right.
Mr. Senator!
Do you like Nick's beard?
No.
Mr. Senator!
That's not a non-answer.
Mr.
Very
Senator!
much an answer.
Mr. Senator!
I couldn't do that one, so let's try it
Mr.
again.
Senator!
Mrs. Carlstrom.
What is your opinion on llamas?
I can't give a non-answer to this one. We'll give it one more, but llamas are awesome. Go llamas! Mr. Lynch.
Oh my god!
Do you have a question?
Yes.
Then ask it.
When were you birthed? Birthed.
At a very young age.
I'm still waiting on one that I can do a good non-answer. Ms. Oman.
What do you think about unicorns?
There you give a non-answer.
Unicorns are very fluffy. They're so fluffy they make me want to die. Or not want to die, but they're gonna make me die. So, uniforms are basically yes.
Alright, I think that's good. Yeah. We'll see. We're going to turn it over to another guest. Just going to call the candidates up here. So without further ado, your reporter, Ms. Elizabeth Unset.
Okay, hello guys, how are you doing?
Hello. Hola.
Okay, whatever. Okay, so, we're gonna kick this off here. The thing is, being times being hosted this event, I get the prerogative of the first question. So you wait to jump up and scream until after I've given them my question and they have answered it. Alright? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so let's start with the Gold Party candidates then. And I'd like to have Senator Sconsi and Secretary Miller come up right now.
Hi. As you know, I'm Hallie Scanty. This is Joshua Miller. We represent the Gold Party ticket. And we've mostly gone over our party platform, but just to reiterate, our main themes are decentralization and deregulation, and the rest of our flanks fall in line with that, taking power from the federal government and giving it back to the states and the people. And we'd like to use as much time as possible as we can, so let's go straight into questions. Press first.
Thank you, Senator. So I have a couple questions, actually. The first one is, what do you think of President Johnson's handling of the H5N8 crisis?
I understand that he's under a lot of pressure, but I feel like he reacted too quickly in taking all that power to himself and declaring a state of emergency, whereas it would have been better to get Congress involved, to get the states involved, and really develop a sense of cooperation and not just taking power to himself to deal with the situation.
Anything to add to that? All right, I have one other question for y'all. Do you agree with or disagree with the Indiana and Kentucky governor's confirmation of President Johnson's declaration of a state of emergency? My staff can't write. To slow the spread of H5N8. Yeah. Yes. Do you agree with or disagree that Kentucky and Indiana governor's condemnation of President Johnson's declaration of state of emergency to slow the spread of the disease?
As a member of President Johnson's cabinet, I have some authority to speak on this because I was there when the decision was made. I wasn't consulted with exactly how the decision ought to have been made. I don't want any feedback from that, but there's like ringing in my ears. Anyway, I do not agree with condemning the actions themselves, but the manner in which they were taken, I do. I believe that Congress should have been consulted first.
Senator. All right. Last night during the debate, a question was asked regarding sexual exploitation in America. I feel like both candidates kind of gave a circular answer. The question was, what do you think is a practical solution? And both candidates mostly said that they disagreed. But what do you think is a practical solution to sexual exploitation in America?
Well, I don't have a solid, ready plan to go into legislation yet, but I know we need to crack down on it. There should be zero tolerance for people who are involved in such things. We need to increase awareness, because a lot of people aren't aware that something like this is going on in their cities. But mostly a plan to increase, just crack down on those doing it, and show that there will be zero tolerance and that we're going to do everything we can to stop it.
I do have one thing to add on that topic. I think America as a source of the demand for sexual exploitation also needs to be addressed.
Senator! Yesterday during the debate, Mr. Miller, the Secretary, and then today during the Senate chamber, you gave an impassioned speech defending the idea of returning to the state jurisdictional authority or operational authority over the enforcement of our borders. Wouldn't that result in a jurisdictional nightmare with state troops arresting federal people who break federal crimes and then handing them over to federal people and filling out federal documents? Would you care to expound on your position?
I don't think that the state should fully handle it, but I feel like the federal government should establish parameters and things that need to be enforced. But my idea is that state employees, National Guard, local law enforcement be used to enforce these rules. So we don't send in federal troops onto the border, but the federal government still oversees and holds the states accountable.
My favorite president is George Washington because he recognized that the office of president was a duty and not a privilege.
Can you kind of expound upon that? Just any world problem that we deal with? Yeah, obviously this is a really tough question because there's so many, but there's kind of a cliche answer, like conflict in the world. If we could all cooperate and get along, we could get a lot more done. Like, world peace. Yeah.
Yeah, just one quick clarification. It's kind of a philosophical question too, because we're all sinners. If we were all perfect, then the world would be perfect. So if I could solve any problem, it would be the problem of sin. If I had to select one particular social issue, I think it would be the problem of abortion, because that's the largest source of human death and destruction currently present in our society.
Madam Senator. What is your favorite breakfast cereal and how does it reflect your party platform?
So not necessarily my favorite, but the one that best reflects my party platform would have to be either Cheerios or Fruit Loops, because they're decentralized.
Mr. Lord in the back.
This question actually is for both of you, but my question is what are you looking for in a spouse?
Okay. I'll give Miss Nancy some time to think. Let me briefly outline it, okay? I'm looking for a woman. That should have been obvious to all of you. Alright, I'm looking for a woman who is a Christian. I do not want to be unequally yoked. That's my first criteria. Something's wrong with the sound system. Are we working on that? Okay, yeah, let me just grab this here. It's on? Is it on? Okay. Okay. Alright, so I'm looking for a woman who's a Christian. And beyond that, I'm trusting God to lead me to the right woman, but I do have, I would rather not marry someone stupid. I believe that goes without saying. There are personal qualities that I appreciate, such as caring, kindness, love, respect for a husband. Those are things that I believe every man ought to look for in a wife.
I'd also, well, it goes without saying, I'd choose a Christian. I'd like it to be someone who shares a lot of the same interests and beliefs. I love the outdoors, so someone who would go camping, go hiking with me. Also someone politically active, because it's a huge part of my life, and I would want someone who was involved with those kind of things with me, and who could have debates with me, and we could raise our children with the same beliefs. But also I'm from Texas, and I would prefer a cowboy.
Is there ever a circumstance in which abortion would be okay?
I want to say no, but there's the case of something called an ectopic pregnancy, where the egg implants in the fallopian tubes, and in that case there's no chance of the fetus surviving, and it risks the mother's life as well. So I would say in that case, but I don't think it should be dealt with by an abortion clinic, but rather as like a medical procedure done at a hospital. And even then, it's hard for me to say yes, because it just feels wrong. That's the only case that I'm kind of considering now.
Madam Senator!
Representative from Pakistan. would say both, but since you forced me to choose between one and the other, I would have to say Star Trek, because Star Wars has way too much to do with let the Force guide you, trust your feelings, Luke, and don't love anybody, Anakin.
My question is, what do you think about making frisbee golf the national sport?
I'm opposed because soccer's the best sport and football too. But also because I've had bad experiences with frisbee golf, so I don't actually enjoy it that much.
Madam Senator! Madam Senator! Madam Senator! Secretary! Secretary! Madam!
Elijah, you have a question for Ms. Gansey?
Yes.
Okay. You want to take that?
Hello, I'm from the El Paso Times, and I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on the president's decision to sign the paperwork to get rid of our wonderful ambassador from Russia?
Well, it was a bill passed pretty much unanimously by Congress, so I feel like he was doing his job in supporting the opinion of the people, and there's good reasons that it was done, so I would say I support him in it.
Senator!
Do you prefer Justin Bieber or One Direction?
One D!
Hey.
Hack five!
I don't really listen to either, but One Direction because
Justin Bieber!
catchier.
Justin Bieber! Senator!
I'm looking for a question for myself, actually, right now. Is the secretary? Okay, yeah, in the back.
Or Iron Man!
Given that one is real and the other is not, I would have to say nukes.
Senator!
Secretary!
How many kids do you want?
We'll both answer it, I guess. I guess it will probably change once I start having kids because I can't say for myself I haven't actually raised kids. Whenever I come home from babysitting the twin boys across the street, I'm like, I'm a dog. But probably like 5 or 6, I guess.
The senator does a little more for a family than I do, I think. I was thinking at least 2, because I want to make sure that my wife and I are not neglecting our responsibility to God to populate the earth with our family. That's a commandment in the Bible. But I'm not sure that I, as a broken human being, am capable of handling more than about 2 kids.
Senator!
Who's your favorite character in Star Wars?
Han Solo.
Han shot first. Yeah, none of you get that. So. In the middle. Next to Bridget.
Okay.
Aaron Tackett, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If Jeremiah, Joel, and Chuck Norris engaged in Mortal Kombat using any weapon of their choice, who would win and would coffee need to be involved?
Would what be involved?
Coffee.
Repeat the question.
Okay. The question was from Aaron Tackett: if Joel Grue, Jeremiah Lorig, and Chuck Norris were all engaged in Mortal Kombat and could use any weapon of their choice, who would win and would coffee be involved? The question kind of speaks for itself.
With the quarterstaff.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Joel Grue
You
with
want
the
my opinion on
quarterstaff.
that? Coffee would most definitely be involved because most of them are basically invincible, and it's kind of like the old quandary between an unstoppable force and an immovable object, except in 3 different directions. Ultimately, though, I would say that Joel Grue and Jeremiah Lorig would band together and kick Chuck Norris's butt.
What about Mr. Secretary? Mr. Secretary!
Both of you!
What do you say?
Okay, the question is, what is our greatest weaknesses? And I'd have to say, as a classic teenager, my greatest weakness is probably procrastination.
Yeah.
Mr. Senator!
Question for both of us. Quiet down, please. Quiet down. My greatest weakness is also procrastination. In fact, I put off all of the homework for a class that I was attending online for Java programming way beyond the actual deadline for all of it, and so probably would have received a failing grade in the class if the professor had actually assigned me a grade, which he didn't, and then like the website shut down and stuff. There were some technical difficulties, but anyway. Yeah, I'm a terrible procrastinator. My second greatest weakness is probably the issue of pride. I've been having a lot of difficulty dealing with being in the center of things and wanting to be in the center of things.
All right. What do you think is a practical solution to natural energy and natural resources in America, such as the Keystone Pipeline, oil reserves, and things like that? Energy independence. What do you think? What is your opinion on energy independence for America and using our own resources?
We definitely need to become energy independent because as of now we're effectively funding people who hate us. And we have so many resources that we can use, so I would say encourage drilling where we can. I'm a fan of fracking, just natural gas, all sorts of things. Just, we need to increase energy independence for ourselves, and that should be a priority for us.
Both of you! Both of you!
Down in the front.
Can both of you please
I
give
think
me
we're
your...
out of time. Can we take one more question?
Can I have your best Batman impression from both of you?
It works. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming up here and answering the questions so honestly. Okay, so now we're going to call up the Blue Party's candidates. So I would like to call President Johnson and Senator Nitzel.
Clap, 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 clap. Take a chair.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming out here tonight on this horrible, miserable afternoon. I really appreciated the debate last night. I had a lot of fun. I hope you all did too. And I hope the questions that you all present are just as fun, if not better than last night.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, and I hope we get a lot of really good questions. Okay, so I've got a couple questions for you guys as well, whichever one of you wants to answer them, that's fine. The first one is, when do you expect the Chicago airports to be reopened?
We actually are planning right now to begin the process of reopening them and also taking the National Guard and giving it back to each respective state because we believe that in the moment it was necessary to take the actions to secure, but then we immediately have decided that we need to give it right back in a slow process that will eventually give states the complete power to do as they please in their respective populations.
And then the other one is, there have obviously been some serious constitutional questions regarding your use of the National Guard, and can you justify your actions and explain a little bit more?
I can. I was informed by my secretaries and after having read the Constitution that the National Guard, being the only thing that we can actually use on the mainland to provide medical aid, we can't use the military, we can't use the Navy, we can't use any of that without Congress first approving it. So what was left was either we had to let the disease spread and potentially wait till Congress made action and thus people would start dying immediately, or we could start now and shut the airport down and stop the death or potential death and spread of the disease. It was a very tough decision, but it was either risking dead children or waiting for the states to do it themselves.
Mr. President! Mr. President!
Should Batman be added to the Avengers Initiative?
Repeat the question.
I love Batman, and I think Batman would agree that maybe he should be, but I think he's a loner, okay? I don't think he'd like working on a team. He'd probably want to go out and just do it himself, you know what I'm saying?
Mr. President! Mr. President!
We'll keep that. Lucas all the way. As a hiker? I never saw him. I think I did go on a hike with him, and he like sped ahead. He was like awesome. As I sat back and...
El Presidente! El Presidente!
Okay. I'm gonna ask you the same question. If Jeremiah, Joel, or Chuck Norris got engaged in mortal combat, with the weapon of their choice, who would win and would coffee need to be involved?
Well, coffee would definitely make it interesting. I don't think Chuck Norris needs coffee, but I think that Joel on coffee and mixed with Jeremiah, it gives them like Superman powers. It's kind of like Superman in the sun, you know. Coffee does that to them. Who would win? Jeremiah. I personally feel that since Congress upholds the views of the people, and that according to the reports I received, Congress had a huge majority voting it that way, I could only adhere to what the Congress would have voted. Otherwise, they would have actually probably overturned my veto anyway. Because in this respect, the Congress felt that the Russian ambassador had personally insulted Congress and some other people, and actually you were the one that initiated that in the first place and came to me. Yes, you do, and so do I. That's why I had a joint session in Congress to talk to you all about writing legislation for the current crisis.
Senator, whatever.
At what age do you feel is the best age to get married?
Well, I think that question is a bit subjective. I think that one needs to be prepared to live by themselves and have the qualities of a mature adult first. And I think you need to consider gender before you think of an age, and also the person's particular personality.
Wait. I think 25.
How can you hope to represent and lead a just nation when you allow self-proclaimed assassins and hitmen to go unpunished and to hold positions of power in the government?
You know, I can't exactly prosecute them without just due process of law. That's actually what you need to have. You need to file a warrant or something. You need to call the cops or something and get the judges to handle it. I can't punish them. That's the court system and the police.
Mr. Senator!
In your view, how has the office of the president over history been most abused? And secondly, how do you intend to use it? What are some innovative ways you intend to use it to do good?
I think one of the greatest examples of abuse would have to be Woodrow Wilson, when he basically created, or almost attempted to create, a police state, and also when he invaded Haiti and I believe one African nation just for the fun of it. So that to me was the most horrible abuse of the presidency. What I think I would do as president, and am currently doing, is just to serve the people, in that I would take into consideration that Congress is the will of the people, and I would begin to step back as George Washington did, and instead let representative government take charge, as opposed to having myself acting as some sort of dictator.
Madam Senator! All right, my next question is, there have been several assassination attempts over the last few days. How can you claim to have a secure America? What do you plan to do about this in the future?
I think that I think that we can definitely increase security for the congressman. I can probably try to work with Homeland Security and maybe get a bodyguard for each and every one of you. We'll try to do that.
Okay, what, for both of you, what hair color do you find more attractive?
Repeat the question.
You know, I tend to think that I like to view the whole rainbow of hair colors as very wonderful options.
Just answer!
Senator!
Well, technically, if you look at the color wheel of hair, black is like all of the colors combined. So that'd be a safe option, I think, without offending anyone.
That was a lame answer!
Vulcan.
I would agree with you.
What is your opinion on TPS equality?
The what?
TPS equality.
On TPS equality.
TBS and Wally?
TPS equality.
This brain is horrible.
TPS equality!
Okay, TBS.
It's for her! It's for her!
I think it's a situation and a condition that needs to be addressed. Considering that it came to great debate in Congress, I think that it's something worth talking about.
Bacon!
I love bacon, all bacon, every kind of bacon. Turkey bacon, baked bacon,
Live bacon.
kosher bacon. If there's such a thing.
I'm actually probably one of the crazy few that doesn't like it, so.
Boris or Noah? Considering that they're twins, I haven't gotten to meet Boris. Noah served admirably for a while, but I trust that Boris will do the same and hopefully much better.
My question is directed at the senator. Brains or brawn?
Brawn. Considering that I have
I think it's good to have a healthy medium of both.
Oh, come on.
Are sandals considered shoes, in your opinion?
Well, for as long as I've lived, shoes have always meant something that separates my feet from the ground. So they do that job pretty well. So,
Madam Senator!
Mr. President!
Which one?
Mr. President!
In your opinion, who is your least favorite president and why? Both.
I'd have to go back to Woodrow Wilson and then probably FDR, because Woodrow Wilson started modern liberalism and FDR reinforced it.
well, I would say our current president is not my favorite, so probably him.
Alright, this is the question that everyone has been planning on asking. Boxers or briefs?
Boxer briefs?
Boxers or briefs?
That's my preferred choice.
What?
How do you feel on guns?
I love guns. I actually use guns.
You own guns! Mr. President!
Mr. President.
Are weasels and lawyers genetically related?
Weasels and lawyers. I'm debating if it should rather be mosquitoes rather than weasels.
The same question I asked to the Gold Party ticket. What do you feel are your greatest weaknesses?
My greatest weakness is the fact that sometimes I talk a lot. I talk too much, and I tend to impose personal beliefs, but that seems to be my major problem.
I would have to say that one of mine is expecting perfection from myself and then other people as well. That'd probably be.
If Russia was to nuke Bangladesh, would you support Bangladesh, Russia, or just stay out of it?
I think that for a nation to wipe another nation off the earth would require me to assist the nation being wiped out, and I would probably support Bangladesh.
Okay, so the other candidates got this one as well. What is your favorite breakfast cereal and how does that reflect your party platform?
I think, oh my goodness, what are those things called that are big and full? Oh, what are those things called? Because I don't eat unorganic breakfast. I only eat organic cereal. Boo! Well, I think Cocoa Puffs, because we're just that awesome. What?
Would you prefer The Hobbit or Harry Potter?
The Hobbit.
Yeah!
French or Italian dressing? I would say that I don't like either. I like Oriental dressing.
Senator!
I'm going to ask the same question I asked other people. Last night's debate, there was a question on practical solutions to handle sexual exploitation in America. I'd like to ask you more directly, what do you think are some practical solutions to this issue? Is that addressed to me or either one of you? Okay. Well, I spoke a little bit about it last night. I think that so many people are unconscious of the severity of the problem, and increasing awareness in cities, and that can start there, and that would make a huge difference, I think. And also, I'm sure we can take other measures to help make sure that we examine and make sure that it's not going on more carefully.
I would have to concur. I don't know, I think legislators should take more proactive action to create legislation that will increase the fines and bans or punishment for the exploiters rather than the exploited.
How do you feel about pork, and do you think it should be the national food?
Well, I don't know. I think we would need legislation to do that. I don't personally have a stance on which meat, but I do like Chick-fil-A the most. I think chicken should be the national food.
We're out of time. Thank you so much, guys. All right, they did a great job. Let's have another round of applause for all the candidates.